Hey guys, good evening. Welcome to a brand new episode of 10-Minute Kick-Ass Coaching from my home studio here. We still got everything kind of set up. I'm a little bit delayed on getting everything out of here, but should be in the short term that we'll have something taken care of here in the near future. So thank you so much for being here this evening. Again, my name is robmlyon. I'm from robmlyon.com of the Service Without Excuses group, and we're here with a brand new episode of 10-Minute Kick-Ass Coaching for this evening. And the question today is, do I need to follow the traditional business rules when it comes to running my business or growing my company? And the answer is there are some things you definitely want to follow, but no, there is not a definitive way on how you need to build your business. Now, you have to have some certain things in place from a strategic standpoint, from an ethics standpoint, things like that you definitely need to have. But that does not mean that you have to follow all the rules that are traditionally set up there by other business people and other fellow colleagues in the business world. So you have to find what works best for you. True, you definitely have to have your organizational system set up in place, your marketing system set up in place, your logistical things set up in place. There's no question about that. You have to make sure those things are ready to go and you can implement them and use them in your business every single day. However, you do not have to follow what everybody else does. In fact, I traditionally, over history, have been the person that has actually followed people from the very beginning and felt that maybe it's right for me or wrong for me. From my experience, I've traditionally went the opposite way of what most traditional people have gone. So I will tell you that from my experience, I usually don't do what the other competitors do. In fact, I do quite the opposite. Now, there are certain things and gains we all need to do in order to have our business out there. But generally speaking, no, I do not follow what my competitors do not follow what other business companies do. I get ideas from other industries and I try to implement them into my own. That's something I do. I think a lot of smart entrepreneurs, smart business owners do the same. You got to make sure that people know that you're out there. And to know and see you and to stand out means you're not really following the rules, because if you were following the rules, you certainly wouldn't stand out. You'd be like everybody else. So there's a prime example of why you would not want to follow the traditional rules, the traditional way of doing things. It's just because you need to stand out. In a market like New York City, to have both the business, the restoration and cleaning business, and also the speaking and coaching consulting firm, there's no question I have to stand out. I have something that's a little unique. To me, one of the unique things about what we do is we work with service entrepreneurs. So it's service-based businesses, which means I work with companies that have boots on the ground, technicians in the field, people that are out there that are putting people in a home or business to do a certain task, a technical task. That could be everything from a real estate person to a computer technician to a plumbing contractor, heating contractor, carpet cleaner, restoration contractor, which is obviously what I'm most familiar with. But anything that has technicians actually doing work in the home. Pest control is another one I'm kind of very interested in right now. I have good friends of mine that own a great business here in New Jersey, and they just came and did some work for me, and I was just blown away with the level of service I got. So, and they're definitely not following the normal rules because they're trendsetters, and they're breaking the bar of an industry that is kind of shrouded in some disconnect when it comes to customers, and they have really capitalized upon that with their family names. So I think that's a traditional thing of not following the normal rules and kind of going with what you feel is the best way to do things. So standing out is crucial, and you're not going to stand out by following what everybody else does. Learning some of the operational rules. If you go and you watch what, let's say, your competition's doing, your competition is doing something maybe not correct or not right, or is definitely not going to benefit you at the end of the day, you need to not follow that person. So you could follow another person going right out of business. That person may not know they're going out of business. You look at their pricing model and say, this is something I got to do. I'll just copy what they do. So I call that operational incest. Some people call things marketing incest. I call it operational incest. So here's an example. I came from a large carpet cleaning franchise, also a large restoration franchise in the past before I ever went into business for myself. And the key thing was when you went and opened your doors to your carpet cleaning business, you said, listen, I'm going to leave. I'm going to tread my own path. I'm going to do whatever I got to do. You go and you follow this particular company's pricing model, or any carpet cleaning franchise pricing model, and say, well, they charge this, so I could charge this and I'll win because I don't have the overhead and costs. I'm not a franchise. I don't have all the expenses incurred of a franchise. I don't have to do this and after that. I could do things at a lower cost ratio, therefore balancing out my profit center, if they actually do know what a profit center is or how to calculate how to get a profit center. understand where you can put in certain numbers to get these forms out, like operational things like O&P and your financial statements, rather. Understand what the P&L is and balance sheets and things like that. Well, you got to plug in certain numbers in order to get there. Going back to where I'm at before I just got off on that little mini rant, is you follow this pricing structure of your competitors, the big companies are doing this. What you don't realize is if that company is charging, let's say for giggles, $75, okay, and you say I could do 2 rooms of carpet cleaning for $75 because SS is doing it, or SM is doing it, or somebody else is doing it. One of the big chains is going out there and charging this. So why can't I charge maybe $5 less? I'm going to charge $70. There's my marketing strategy. There's my operational strategy. There's the way I'm going to win. But you're not. What you're neglecting to think is most of those companies, most of those franchises have multiple trucks. So if you have 4 or 5 trucks doing $75 a job, your number is significantly higher than your 75. Now, granted, it's just you. It may just be you and you and you, or it might be you and a technician, but your pricing model doesn't work. You can't retain a profit at a $75 job average. Nobody can clean carpets for a $75 job average. You can if you're working out of the back of a Chevy station wagon and you got mops using to clean the carpets with, and maybe a rented rug doctor. No offense to rug doctor, you're renting a piece of equipment that anybody can rent from a store, and you're going to be in business, and you're going to say, that's my competitive edge. I'm just going to be cheaper by $5 packages than my competition, and I'm going to win. Again, if you have all those factors in place, you're renting the rug doctor, you're got the van, you got the couple little green chemicals, the goop you got at Walmart, and you're going to go into it, you're possibly right. You may actually profit something at $75. Most people can't. Most people take some pride in what they do, and they go and they say, I've got a professional grade equipment, I've got a professional training, professional chemicals, professional products, professional insurance, professional, if I've got employees, I've got workman's comp, phone numbers, websites, blah, blah, blah. You can keep going on and on. I've got to have this in order to win. You're not going to, because you can't sustain a profit at $75. Now they can, because again, they've got 4 or 5 trucks doing that, and their product is building extra value in a house, is building up a bigger ticket, coming at a house with a significantly more amount of money than $75. They know they can't make any money at $75. Even they can't do it. But you're following your same business model and saying, if I only do that, I can win. No, you can't. Never going to happen. But if you follow that technique and you follow what your competition is doing, you look at the big boys on the block and saying, I can do this. I could just be a little cheaper than them and I will win. No, you won't. Unfortunately, you have no chance of winning. There's no chance you're going to turn a profit, no chance you're going to stay in business. And at those prices, you're going to keep your business as much cash as possible. And that's great. If you don't want to pay Uncle Sam, you want to be like that, no problem. Here's the problem. Eventually, you're going to need to borrow money. So even if you say, I outsmarted everybody and I kept my money to myself and I'm one of those guys, you're not, because then you don't have a business. Because if you have to borrow money, which you will, if you're going to grow your company, at some point in time, you cannot always stay self-funded. And if you go out there and you're going to build your company, you're going to borrow money. The bank is not going to take, well, I made $75,000 this year, but I have $5,000 worth of receipts to show for it. So you made $5,000, Mr. Smith. No, I made $75,000. No, you made $5,000 because you don't have anything to show for it. You have no assets that I can leverage against this. Your equipment I can't leverage against this. Your company I can't leverage against this. You didn't make enough money to do something to even warrant me loaning you anything above taking the $5,000 risk, which is what your business has. Well, you never built any equity in your business. You never built any equity in anything because you didn't pay the toll. Toll is your taxes. Toll is your income. You got to pay it. It's just the way it is. It's here. It's not going away. It's probably only going to get a little bit worse. So you got to work within those parameters and say, I have to price myself profitably so I can do this, build my business, still pay the taxes, still pay everything, still pay the profit, and grow my company. Profit's a good thing, by the way. Don't let anybody tell you it shouldn't make profit. That's a dumbass remark. You want a profit in your business. You know you're going to take a while to get there, but you want it. So after this entire rant, it was based on, and I can get into pricing models, and there's so many variations we can get into this, but you can't price and make your decisions based on what your competition is doing. If you follow their pattern, even the top ones, you're going to lose. If you follow the bottom ones, you're going to lose. Bottom ones are going out of business. They just don't realize how fast. The top ones are staying successfully in the business, but their model is based on volume, not on quality. It's quantity, not quality. You want to be somewhere right there in the middle. You want to say, you know what, I need to charge more, and I'm going to do a better job. And if I do a better job, people will hire me. And this is the reason I talk about all the time. You are not selling a service. The service is what you do. In this case, the service is carpet cleaning, and most customers look at you like you're just the other guy. Same person doesn't make a difference. You're nobody special. But if you're JB's carpet cleaning service, then you're somebody special. Now you're selling a product, and a product has value where the service does not. It's true what you're doing is the manual cleaning of the carpets and the manual work involved into it. But you are not selling a service. You're selling you as a product. And you as a product need to price yourself separately and need to make sure you do not follow the traditional rules. You don't follow the rules of the big carpet cleaning chains. You don't follow the rules of the lowball carpet cleaners that are going out of business faster than they realize. Find out what makes sense to you. There are many variables. I can't possibly cover them in this. It would take hours for me to explain all the different pricing models and variables to a business. But you got to price yourself for profit, and you got to make sure you decipher yourself different. We're going to get into pricing for profit in a different episode, but know and realize that you cannot follow what others do. You have to trade your own path. You can learn from other people, learn from both sides, learn what works best for you, and make sure you find what is the profit center that you can build off of, what you can grow, and what is going to make you stand out different from your competitors. Again, we have to do it here in New York. We have no option. There's 8,000 companies that I understand service the greater New York area that do restoration work, and I don't think it's even carpet cleaning. I think it's beyond that even in carpet cleaning. But decipher yourself to be who you are, and don't follow your competition. Define your competition. How's that? Define your own market. Define your niche into it. Define your position, your pole position in your business. Don't let it define you, because the name's going to be given for you either way. But you should define what you're going to be and define your position in the marketplace, which means you don't really care what your competitors do or don't, and you shouldn't. You should be aware of it. I mean, you know what's going on in the market, what your market will bear and what it'll spend. But you know, at the end of the day, what your customers are paying for, and they're paying for you. And the service you deliver, and the guarantee you deliver, and the operations that you deliver, they're paying for you. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining me for an episode of 10-Minute Kick-Ass Coaching from my office this evening. Again, I've got a few more days of doing some stuff here, and surely soon I hope to have our new office, everything up, but that's not going to be done overnight. So I'm just happy that we're in the process of getting everything set up here, and it'll be really great. At the end of the day, I'll have much more room and can do a lot more for my clients and for you here every night when you join me for a brand new episode of 10-Minute Kick-Ass Coaching. Have an awesome day. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.